So I came to the contingency plan. So what is a contingency plan? That suppose some immediate repair you have to do or some pipe failure is there, then what you will do? You should have ready-madely available all your spares, your contract system should be in place. Then the pipe, you should have that spare pipe, hydro tested and coated pipe you should have available. You should have that sleeves, the A type and B type sleeves, and the repair lamps you should have. So all these are the contingency plans, and you should do the your drill also, that in case of emergency how you will manage the things. So you have the emergency disaster plan you should have in hand. These are all the contingency plan, and your supporting function is audit and review. So you should do the audit and review, internal audit, external audit, OSD audit, and you review whether your system is in control or not. And finally, you have the information management, role of IT. So because all your instrumentation system comes in the information system, that your pressure, temperature, flow, all these data are coming to you so that you can maintain the integrity of the pipeline. So the role of IT and role of SCADA, all the telecommunication, all is important. There's a part of the information system. So this is the whole broad concept of your integrity management process, and you should focus, you should have that procedure in your integrity management plan, your manual. So this is the same actually. This is the same. So this integrity starts from the design stage itself. So the concept, design, and construction. This is the initial phase. Don't think that the integrity management is a job of operation and maintenance only. It comes from the design and construction stage. As you will come to know, there are so many problems. Sorry. So you know that so many problems come to the operation and maintenance from the design stage. So how much is your corrosion allowance, for example, or how much pressure you have taken, what is your maximum level operating pressure, and how much is the corrosion allowance, or what type of coating you have selected in that, depending on the environment. So these all comes in the design, and then you have the construction phases. That in during construction also there may be problem of, say, the you have not provided the rock, that's rock seal, or the sand in the bottom of the pipeline. Then the CP shielding may be there, or if the rocks fall on the pipeline, there may be coating damage. So, and the support on the proper, that support or the sandbag support. So there may be unnecessary modulations in that pipeline. Stress may develop. So many things are there. So design and construction phases start from there, and then it is development to the operation phase. Then in the operation phase, you are having the same thing: risk assessment and integrity management planning, inspection, monitoring, testing, and finally then your repair and maintenance, as we discussed in the previous slide. This is the integrity management process flow diagram. So this is a part of risk assessment. As I told you, what is the risk? You have to devise risk assessment and planning. So you have to take the different equipment scope. You have the different equipment. Now the different equipment wise, you have to take the risk. Like you have the compressor stations. Now you have the compressors, compressor motors, or you have the generators, or you have the pipelines. So scrapper station. So these are the different facilities or the different equipments. So each equipment you have to select, and you have to define the risk associated with that equipment. Equipment means that equipment failure or equipment breakdown. So that risk individually you have to find out. How it can do it? You have to devise the first the 3 H's. For each equipment item, identify all threads which can lead to failure. So I will come in the later slides in what are these threads and what are the equipment in the pipeline which you have to take. So you have to do the threads. Like for example, in a life, you have the threads. Like the latest case, you see, you have the coronavirus. Now the coronavirus is a threat to your life. So you have to take into account this threat and see how much you are vulnerable. So in the case of pipeline, these threats may be many. Maybe the mechanical defects, maybe the earth-related problems, or maybe the natural calamities, internal corrosion, external corrosion. These are all the threats. So you have to gather all the data that related to those threats. So you have to know all the pipeline data. We'll come to know later on what are these data. And then data you have to review. If data is okay, then you have to plan each threat, estimate risk. How? Consequence of failure and probability of failure. These two are important things based on the data. So what is the first is the what is the consequence of failure? Its impact. That will come later on. How we decide the impact. There is some basic standards on that. And then your probability of failure. How is the probability of failure? That is frequency of failure. And so based on these impact and the probability, you decide what is the risk. That risk is there with some later slides. So this is the process you have to follow, and then you have to plan for inspection, monitoring, testing, and then mitigation, intervention, and repair. In between, you have to do the integrity assessment after inspection, monitoring, and testing. So this is the process you have to follow for the risk assessment and then plan. As we move ahead, you will come to know what are the different in detail about these things. These are the different threats to the pipeline integrity. Those people who work in the pipeline, they know what are the threats to the pipeline integrity. So it is, first is your material and construction defect, such as defects, pipe, seam, and girth weld. Material and construction defects. So here you see, these are the construction defect. These are the construction defects. So during the construction, you have the pipe, seam, weld, or during the fabrication also, you may have the pipe, seam, weld problem, or the girth weld problem, or during the construction stage, if the radiography is not proper or the welding procedure qualification is not proper, then you will have the material defect, construction defect, like the weld defect. Then you have corrosion and cracking mechanism, due to ineffective CP. CP is the cathodic protection. All the pipeline people know about this cathodic protection. This is for the external corrosion and the coating damage and sour gas. So this is for the, if there is sour gas is there inside, then there may be internal corrosion. And what is the sour gas? You all will be knowing, where you have the presence of CO2 and H2S. These are called the sour gas. And along with the water, the moisture, there can be internal corrosion. So external corrosion is CP, and there will be cracking because of your stresses developed in the pipeline. And the coating damage. During the construction phase, there can be coating damage, or the third-party damage may be there. Then you have the mechanical damage, such as dent, gouges at the time of handling and backfilling. This is also related to construction defect. During the construction, if you don't have the proper if the rocks you have kept on the and you have not, if you have not provided that the slope where the rocks fall on the pipe, there will be coating damage, and there can be dents or the gouges at the construction stage itself because of that rocks falling on that, or you have the coating damage here. So these are all the construction related problems, and then you can have other conditions like third-party damage and vandalism. If they are normally, this is the most important regions for the pipeline failure. You see, 40 to 50% of the failure causes because of the third-party damage and the vandalism. And there is a pipe leak and fire. We'll see later on the two cases I will let you know because of the third-party damage and the vandalism. And then you have the weather-related effects such as cold weather, frost, lightning, here the CP is also not effective here. And in that case, if the lightning is there, you don't have protection, you can have a pipe failure or leak. Flood can lead to the pipe washouts, and there may be settlement of the soil, pipe exposure, and then you have the earth forces such as earthquake, settlement, slope, etc. This you have to control. So earthquake, you can have a more, where is earthquake zone, you have to have that pipeline under a your depth or the cover should have more, or the coating is also thickness should be more. So these are the precautions you have to take from the earthquake. And then there is soil settlement, slope, river meandering. All those things are there because of these forces. Then indirect operation such as develop stress, high pressure. If you have to maintain the calibration of all your safety instrumentation, like you have that pressure safety valve will open up if the pressure is more. If that doesn't work, then there will be stress corrosion cracking inside the pipeline. And if you don't have that safety slab sort of valve, then it will not close. And then if PSV, if it doesn't work, then there will be a problem in the pipeline. And so, and again, there is your pressure and temperature variation in the pipelines. So all those things are operations control. So we are very much concerned with the operational failure. Then you have the device failures and malfunctions due to defective gaskets, O-rings, improper settings. So this also is the maintenance problem, that you put all the gaskets, O-rings of a proper specifications, and you check all these whether there is any leakage from the gaskets or the O-rings failures are there in a timely manner. Otherwise, this will lead to a serious accidents. So these are all the different threats to the pipeline integrity, in addition to the internal and external corrosion. These are all the threats to the pipeline integrity. So risk assessment and intervention planning. How do you do that? So here we are talking about, in short, about the say monitoring, testing, and the testing. So you have the this on condition monitoring. You have the external inspection and internal inspection. This is the condition monitoring, means the corrosion monitoring. So external inspection will come later on. What are the internal inspection? Like you are doing the foot patrolling, or you are doing the coating integrity surveys. So these are all the external inspection. Internal inspection is through the inline inspection, or your pigging there, or you are measuring the ultrasonic tools are there. So this is the internal inspection. Then you have the process product control, that the process data. So what is all the operational data that you should have? Product analysis, that is you are doing the pigging. So you have to have the how much is the corrosion product is there inside the pipeline. So that is the product analysis, that the pigging residue is coming. So you have to do the product analysis, and your gas or the oil, whatever you are using, their analysis. How much corrosion constituents are there? S2S, CO2, and your water content is there. Then chemical injection. In case of the internal corrosion, you are using corrosion inhibitors to nullify the corrosion constituents. So this chemical injection is there that you have to control. And then integrity assessment is the corrosion assessment and the mechanical assessment. So here all those things you are doing by the assessment. And after that, what is the pipeline condition after assessment? That you assess. Based on that, you are taking mitigation, intervention, and repair. So first you have to do the risk assessment, which I have already told you how to do the risk assessment. After the risk assessment, you are doing the what sort of inspection, testing, and monitoring you have to do. You are doing the integrity assessment based on this data, and then you have to take the mitigation, intervention, and repair. And further, after that, you should have the feedback whether you are able to control your risk and avoid pipeline failure in the leak detection, leaks. So these are the potential threat analysis. So this is what we have discussed earlier, that improper design is there. Then you should have a design review system. and design review system should be done by the your experts. And in your section, in your, this is the duty of the design section in charge of your company, of your organization. Now, see, the you have normally the project management consultant who is doing the all sort of design, and but it should be reviewed by your expertise in your organization, because once there is not a proper design, what is the design? You say that what is the safety factor, corrosion allowance, coating material, what type of coating material you are using, and cathodic protection, what type of cathodic protection you are using, and what is your RAU, whether there is any AC interference or whether there is any population density is there accordingly, and the location class, which class your pipeline is passing, and accordingly what should be the the pipeline thickness, your coating thickness. All those things are selected at the time of design, and if it's not proper, later on the problem has to be faced by the O&M group. So this is important for so far as the external corrosion is concerned. Then you lapse the procurement of specific pipe and coating material. Then this is about the quality control during the procurement of the pipe. So all those, the testing in that you have to do for the procurement of the materials, and then quality control and seeing well during the fabrication. You have to have the proper your procedure qualification test, welding qualification test, so that you have the proper NDT testing done for the for your welding to be proper seam weld, and the coating application holiday checking you should have, and hydro test, the proper hydro test is there, and non-destructive testing is done. So all this quality control, our GAIL people have the third-party inspection agency in addition to the project management consultant, and our GAIL people who are ensuring the quality control of the pipeline fabrication and the coating in the yard. Also at the construction site, we have the triple layer of our quality management system, that is by deputing your project management consultant, our third-party inspection agency from the organization side, and of course the organization people. So the quality control is a must if you want to control the external corrosion, particularly in the application of the coating, the weld quality, and the holiday testing, and then and then cathodic protection systems. All those things are important. So the same quality control, pipe laying, joint welding, as you know, the proper that that coating application, proper sandblasting should be there. Coating, the joint coating is there. So the properly you are, as per standard operating procedure, you are using the joint coating there. And because the most of the failures and because of external corrosion, it takes place in the joint coating, because it is not proper, and there is a gap in the overlap system where the moisture goes inside and the oxygen also goes inside, and there is corrosion on that. So that is important. Backfilling is also important, because the backfilling is not proper. It should be properly compacted. That in that case also you may have that shielding problem if the rock is there in the bottom of the pipeline. So this all is important, and the hydro testing and the commissioning, because see, properly drying of the pipelines, the people of the pipeline in the commissioning, they will be knowing that once you do the hydro testing, after that you are doing the vacuum drying. All the moisture should be at the dew point depletion you are doing, and so it is taken to the minus temperature, so that the completely it is drained, and that there is no water inside the pipeline, because ultimately it may lead to condensation and the internal corrosion also. So this is very important, that the proper drying is there and it is purged by the nitrogen. And then in case of lapse of indirect and direct inspection, so this is the monitoring, about the monitoring in the O&M part, that we have to do CIP, CAT, and DCVG survey. So these are the desirable practice and control. So these are the three for the external corrosion, that you have to maintain that properly inspection at the design stage, at the construction stage, and then at the operational and the maintenance stage, to maintain the integrity so far as your external corrosion is concerned. These are the actually this inspection, monitoring, and the testing which you have to do to control the external corrosion. This is all about the internal corrosion. So there may be internal corrosion, so many reasons for that. That internal corrosion may be due to your gas or oil having the sour gas is there, or the oil you have the moisture content is there, and the carbon products are there. So they may lead to the internal corrosion. So and during commissioning also, if it is properly, if the water is not completely dried from the pipeline, then it may lead to condensation. And then you have the internal corrosion control like the ILI. So you have to have the practice that ILI you are doing, that is the testing, inline inspection is there. Then that inspection, you have the bell hole inspection, UTLR, UTI doing, this is ultrasonic thickness, and the long range ultrasonic thickness will come on later on. We'll tell you about what we are doing there. So all these things are pigging. If you have, and we will check later on. So this is training pigging, pig analysis, and feed analysis. So all these things, if you are doing, then you are doing in a category. So these are all the three of the internal corrosion. For that meeting that, and for that internal corrosion control, you should have a proper inspection, monitoring, and testing programs like that. We have the stress corrosion cracking. Similarly, so you have the two level. So stress corrosion cracking tool and the pressure testing. I will also give you about the stress corrosion cracking and the NDT methods such as magnetic particle imaging that you are doing, which can give you the cracks. So these are the different tools for the stress corrosion cracking. Operational maintenance, you have the lack of proper operational maintenance procedures. Already we have discussed. They should have manual, standard operating procedure, safety manual, your calibration schedule, and then your testing of your slab shut-off valve, pressure safety valve. So and so all these things you have to take into account. Operational maintenance. One of the important role of operational maintenance is maintaining the pressure and temperature in the pipeline, because that also affects the inside in the corrosion, and also that leak detection system, if it is there, then that properly supervision and the proper doing that leak detection checking 6 monthly at least, based on the acoustic emission is there, or you have the pressure difference also there. That I think that several organizations, HPCL or GAIL, might have this leak detection system. And third party damage you have, so you can maintain through the foot patrolling, and you can awareness program for the people. You should have a hot permit system, and continuously now the satellite, through satellite also, or you have the that SAP system also. You can have that. In GAIL they have introduced this integrity pipeline integrity management system, PIMS is called. Here it is all the through the satellite, all the data is coming from the pipelines. If there are any activities, you can watch over that. If there are any activities, undue activities on the pipeline, that also you can see through the satellite picture. I think HPCL, or because the oil producing and the oil transporting companies are very much required there, because the third party damage, there is a theft of the oil, there is a third party damage also because of pilfering of oil. So they need a very robust system to monitor any undue activities on the pipeline. So you have the different systems available, whereby either you can monitor through satellite data transmission system, or you can have some sort of that vibration monitoring system is also there. If there is some undue activity, that vibration signal comes in the control room, and they can know that something unwanted things are happening. Also, there is a leak detection system is there. If there is any leak in the pipeline, that can be known through your pressure differential system or your acoustic emission system. Weather and earth related, here also you should maintain that HDD in critical areas like major river and creek you can do to avoid that meandering of the river course is changing and the pipe may explode or it may float. So HDD in critical areas. So we have in Gale also Ram Ganga and river where we have done the complete HDD all across the Ram Ganga and Mumbai High also in the sea. Now perhaps they have changed the route or they have done the SDD. So these are the, and you have to check if there is any soil settlement is there, or if there is any sort of river crossing where the pipe has exposed. So all a proper monitoring, proper patrolling is required there. And then you have the lightning or the earthquake. So earthquake we have discussed that you can have a more cover or you can have a more thickness of the pipeline or more coating thickness. Also for the lightning, you have the polarization cell and the Jinko node, where the lightning surge is put to the ground, and instead of it doesn't hurt or it doesn't affect your coating and the pipeline damage. So the lightning surges, the high potential that is because of the lightning and the high current which goes to the ground through the polarization cell and the zinc anode. This is so this is a mechanical damage that you see that this is a construction defect. You know, this you can see that these are the some types of that in the case of the construction, either some fell on that, or maybe the fabrication, not the fabrication, in the construction defect only, that the mechanical damage. So we have to take care during the construction stage itself. This is the pitting corrosion due to galvanic corrosion and microbial corrosion. This is a process that it happens of the pitting corrosion. Then you see, just a figure that the pipe laying in the rocky trench without sand padding. So they see there is the rocks are there, and this will seal the CP also, damage the bottom of the pipeline coating also. There is no sand padding here. So this is all the construction defect. This is also this is because of the galvanic and the microbial. This already we have shown you. This is a mechanical demand, and the goes like that. Then this is also a localized AC corrosion. You see, after that, this is a typical AC corrosion. So this type of things happen in that. This is the internal corrosion. You see, this is the internal corrosion pitting at the bottom due to stagnant water accumulation and presence of H2S and O2. So if the presence of H2S and O2 is there, and so these are the type of pits. See, in the pits cluster of corrosion, pitting corrosion, okay, and which may lead to that. And this is the bottom 6 o'clock position. Consequence due to failure, you know, this is a formula, and this is the how much is the impact area. So this is a formula, and of course the outside diameter pipeline range. So this the impact area depends upon the diameter. The higher the diameter of the pipeline, higher is the risk, and maximum of operating pressure of section of pipeline in PSI. So this is also the pressure. So pressure, the higher the pressure, higher the diameter, higher may be the impact area. But this you won't take in isolation. You have to take that, of course, the higher population density. This is important. Class, say, 3 and 4, where it is more prone to that impact is higher. You cannot change that. And sometimes happens that you have the that your population density may change. And earlier you have the class 2, now it has become the class 3 or class 4. So accordingly, you have to take measures that how you can that probability of failure. You have to probability of failure. You have to decrease, and so because you cannot do anything. Of course, the cover you can have a more cover on that, but that is a difficult task. Then environmental damage, if it is passing through the forest, river, or green area, then the environmental damage is there. So you are taking the environmental clearance for that, and the properly that you have to have a more thickness of the pipe, or you have to have the coating thickness should be more, cover should be more. These are the precautions you have to take in the river or green area. And then increase fire and explosion hazards. Now, if it is in a domestic area, commercial, industrial area, or nearby some present is there nearby some emissions where the fire can take place, like the hazardous environment is there. So the fire and explosion hazards are there. So that also can all lead to the impact area. This affects the impact which may have more because of that pipe failure. So this is in short what about the risk. That is, the risk is about that two primary factors, as I already told you: probability of failure and then consequence of, that is the impact, probability and the impact. So this is just simple that everybody know that risk calculation of one equipment you take, one threat is there, you see what is the probability of failure and what is the consequence of failure, and then we'll come later on how you can decide the probability of failure, how you can decide the consequence of impact. So I am going to add risk assessment. That I have already explained to you why do you do the risk. So for the vulnerable areas, you can focus on vulnerable areas. Then readiness for contingency plan, you can be ready for contingency plan. Effective decision making is selection of inspection and monitoring tools and its schedules. So you can properly select what should be the inspection and monitoring schedules and tools. Then resources you can allocate for effective mitigation. Cost optimization, of course, you can do by selecting appropriate inspection methodology and mitigation measures. And you can plan qualified and experienced personnel for interpreting results and improving inspection tools and mitigation measures. These all things are very important. So the risk assessment, you can know how you can utilize the risk assessment for all those things, objectives. You can just think over it.